Gambling operators, including casinos and betting shops, will have to pay a share of their profits to the government under new plans.
Ministers say the levy will raise £100 million, which will be used to help tackle the problem of gambling.
Let's look at this then. So half of all the money generated will go to healthcare services in England, Scotland and Wales to develop what's called a comprehensive support and treatment system, including referrals and triage through to recovery and aftercare. 30%
will go to prevention, including national public health campaigns and training for frontline staff.
And 20% will fund the development of a gambling research programme to inform future policy and regulation.
We are now joined by Liz and Charles Ritchie, founders of the charity Gambling with Lives. Their son Jack was just 24 when he took his own life back in 2017 following years of severe gambling addiction. We're going to talk about Jack in just a moment, but first, does this moment feel like a victory for you after all these years?
Well, to be honest, nothing really feels like a victory without Jack, and we always feel, we miss him every day, every minute of every day, obviously. But it is a huge step forward. I mean, there's a lot of us that have been campaigning for a long time about this, and it does feel like this new government has really listened and they've acted. You know, it was a bit of an anomaly that the 2005 Act didn't really include the Department of Health. And now, as you said, 50% of this is going to the NHS, which is fantastic.
And we just went through some of the sort of technical words and phrases that the government's using to describe what the money will go for. But in just real life terms, what kind of difference will this cash make? Well,
we realised very soon after Jack died that the system of a voluntary levy was mad because it allows the gambling industry this huge influence. That's the situation at the moment. Huge influence over what information there is and over what treatment's delivered. And they can withdraw money, as they have done, from charities if they don't like the message that's being given out. Now it's going to be a proper message that includes the dangers of products.
And there's a big difference is that when Jack died, there was just one NHS clinic. There are now 15, but at the moment those are funded through the NHS budget. This will change that, and so that will now be funded through this statutory levy. And that's a big change.
So tell us about Jack.
Well, I mean, he was lovely. I mean, he was a very happy baby, very happy child, until when he was 16. He went into a bookies with his friends while he was at school in the dinner hour. They were gambling with their dinner money. He told us, and he didn't actually have a very severe gambling addiction. And that's apparently, you know, everybody thinks that suicide is only the reaction to a consequence of a severe addiction. I mean, the reality is that he was free a lot of the time. Gambling is dangerous. Gambling on these very addictive products that make you feel like you will never be free of it. He wrote in his suicide note, "I will never be free of this." And he'd been free for months on end, and then he will have got a free bet or something, and then he gambled for a couple of days, and that was it.
And this was something that he talked to you about? It
All
wasn't happening secretly or privately? He shared it with you?
We probably found out that Jack had been gambling about a year after he'd started. And we look back now and we can see that he was addicted by that stage. Addiction is very quick. Yeah. We work with other Gambling with Lives families. And one of the cases which is going through a major inquest at the moment, the young man had been gambling for no more than 7 months at any proper level. So that is, you know, the image of addiction is that it's something that happens over years and it's a consequence of other changes in your life and issues in your life. It's not. It's about the products. It's about the actions of the industry. It's about the targeting of the industry. And I think that's one of the things about the levy, is that it is hugely welcome, but of itself, it doesn't make gambling safer. It doesn't change the industry. It doesn't change products. So tomorrow, a young person will still be dragged into gambling through misinformation and advertising. Products will still be running at the same speed. Industries will not be intervening in a meaningful way when they see that somebody is gambling and having major problems. So those are the changes that need to happen to make gambling safer. The levy's really welcome, but it's just a mechanism to that.
And that's why we need to make sure that the details of where a pot of money for prevention, you talked about the 30% that's going to go for prevention, that needs to go to the NHS, needs to go to the Department of Health. They need to own it, and it needs to be independent, and that is capable of parliamentary scrutiny then, and accountable to all of us.
We've had an interesting statement here from the Betting and Gambling Council. They say this: ministers must not lose sight of the fact that the vast majority of the 22.5 million people who enjoy a bet each month on the lottery, bookmakers, casinos, bingo halls, online, do so safely. The tone of this announcement suggests the government is at risk of losing perspective of these facts.
If you read on, that then goes on that the BGC actually claim a 0.4% problem gambling rate. They're using the health survey from 3 years ago, despite the fact that the Gambling Survey of Great Britain was published at the end of July, which showed harm figures of 2.5%, 6 times higher. That absolutely encapsulates what is wrong with this industry. They talk about the government losing perspective. What you have is an industry which cannot and will not own up to the scale of harm that it is causing.
And of that 2.5%, 44% are at high risk of suicidal behaviour. That's 500,000 people.
Honestly,
this is crazy.
I find it astonishing that the Gambling Commission are allowing the industry to talk about figures which are not the official statistics. The Gambling Commission spent millions of pounds developing this new survey. It's the gold standard. It's where official statistics come from now. And the Betting and Gaming Council are still quoting figures from years ago.
You're talking about scamming today. They're trying to scam all of us by trying to use the wrong figures.
Thank you both so much for coming in. I think everybody watching will sense your passion and determination, and you're not giving up yet.
It's not just us. There's lots of bereaved families, you know, and we are all angry. And they call us anti-gambling prohibitionists. Nobody's trying to ban gambling. It's ridiculous. All we're trying to do is stop other people dying.
Thank you so
Charles,
much.
thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.